Now we're going to do one on a fan favorite. This is a very beloved character within the series. Now we're on the second portion of the surprise powerhouse theme for this week, that being the Black Clover portion. And who better than Charmy? I feel like Charmy she's one of those characters where you instantly just assume she's going to be the comic relief, and she is for the most part of the series. Well, I guess you could still say a majority, but she's also a very serious character when she has to be. She's comedic when things are relaxed. She has this kind of tone to her, kind of like Ichiya from Fairy Tail, where the character itself is very powerful, actually, like a pretty strong character, but you wouldn't know that at first glance. Just look at them, you think that there's some silly kind of like background character, and then when they actually finally get serious, they demolish people in fights. Now, Charmy has a lot to her that was a surprise and yet laid out in plain sight, because we got a pretty good reveal from her. I don't know why, if you're an anime only, you're clicking on this, but just, I guess, spoiler from this, Charmy is actually half-dwarf. And throughout the series, there was this explanation when characters would see Charmy get serious, that her magic felt different. There was an overwhelming force on it. Eventually you found out one of the guys talking about how there was something sleeping within her. There was like, it was like a beast in the shroud. And once at one point during the Elf Invasion arc, or Elf Resurrection arc rather, the Black Bulls actually mistook Charmy's mana for an elf, which obviously is a very impressive thing, because like an elves have very high and distinctive mana by default, without even having to have like a specific type of magic. Their mana in general just is very, bolsterous. Whereas Charmy, it was actually because that she's half dwarf. And there were a lot of signs going up to it. Like I said, there was also one thing that I don't think a lot of people went over. Like, there was more of the kind of breadcrumb Tabata things that he did. Again, like the difference in the way her magic was, and the gaps when she got serious to actually like demolish people, and then obviously mistaking her magic for not of a human. Well, at least not of the level of a normal human. But I think Charmy's like very festive nature, very like wanting to feast and have fun, very happy, very, just very polite. And I want to go with actually sharing with food, because that's one of the things about dwarves that it's not always, but it's a very staple aspect to them, is they're very festive. They like to drink, have like large dinners. They want to marry, make, and have fun with friends. And that was an aspect of Charmy that we just took as a fun aspect of her personality, but it actually ties in well with her part of being half-dwarf. And when I talk about her, like, surprise powerhouse, what exactly about her like made her so crazy? Like, the first whole portion of the series, she was just like, she liked to eat food. She was like this little chibi, cute, silly character who would, crack jokes on people, because, even though she has like a three-set kind of like designs to her. She has like her chibi one where she looks like she's like the size of a toddler, but that's more in just like a silly cutesy art style. It's when we see her kind of get serious, that's her actual appearance. In reality, even though you might see a panel or a scene of her where she looks like you could put her in one of those little baby chest carriers and walk around with her, in reality she's what is that, 142 centimeters? I'm trying to think of what that is. That's just under 1.5 meters. So, oh my god, I don't know metric very well. I think that's under 5 feet. So what, she's like probably like 4'7", 4'6", or something like that. I don't want to do the conversion right now, but she's still much taller than she would appear. But then we have her, what people are just referring to as her adult form, when she, her dwarven powers activate during the battle with Lufalu. Because the whole thing about her is she loves to share her food, which is actually a very different thing than a normal glutton. And I think that's one of the things that help tie her to a dwarf. It's like dwarves are always trying to, bring others into their merrymaking. It's not just eating and feasting, it's having fun with their friends, drinking with their comrades and whatnot. But Charmy, whenever she did serious, she would unleash like her, because normally she had this like her caught magic, your wool magic, it would just be like used for more of like transportation. She'd have defensive. But then, like, when she got serious, she'd have her big ram show up, and there's actually a really good feat from her back in the Water Temple. You can see, like, when she punches that dude from the Eye of the Midnight Sun, you see like a actually really big like hole that it made. It's probably like a couple. I'm doing meters now. A couple dozen meters, like straight, like across or down, and like a couple meters wide. So it's a pretty sizable amount of damage she did. And this was just in straight, like, she just punches. She just is knocking damage on it. But Charmy doesn't just have that, because we know that from her being a hybrid, she pretty much has two sides to her magic. She has her ram with her cot magic for offense, but in that side, it's much more of, like, straight, she has defensive magic and support magic, but she also has a level of offensive magic, but it's more with a familiar. She herself doesn't show like any signs of straight like, oh, I'm a durable, I'm able to be a tank. But when she ends up turning into her dwarven form, her magic switches over. Instead of it more being about defensive and making food, it's more about consumption, her meal magic, because she actually can eat other people's magic, and she straight like adds it onto herself. She boosts her own physical capabilities with it. You know, she just flips that coin over instead of being, again, ranged, much more like a summoner and a defense. She's straight like offense, all on offense, self-boosting, self-hyping, get in there and battle. She actually is she's actually one of the only characters that would be a formidable opponent against Asta. Like, obviously, she wouldn't be able to eat magic from him to get the boost, but say that she, you know, she was prepped up, you know, she fought someone beforehand, or, you know, they were in a tournament and she's stacking up mana. Her meal magic enhances her physical capabilities, and that's actually one of the things that's Asta's weakness, is if he gets, you know, he's weak to people that are physically stronger and faster than him, and, you know, better at close quarters combat, and that's what Charmy with her meal magic is. She was able to become this bruiser. We saw when she was fighting Lufalu, she didn't like, oh, I'm going to use the meal magic and then, you know, summon a bigger ram. And she just straight boosted herself and just started knocking punches on him. And even this isn't even the full extent that we saw. And literally like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I did think that was funny. I actually was very happy because when I saw Teching 101 was doing Black Clover videos now. And also, if you watch his videos, tell him to read fucking Jujutsu Kaisen already. But he actually mentions that. And that was one of the first things that I got too. I was like, oh my god, that's one of those puns that's right in your face, but at the same time, it's so genius and I love it. It was just a great reveal for her character. And she's got a lot of other fun things to her too. Well, one of the things about Black Clover that actually is in reverse when people compare it to like Naruto is Asta actually gets a lot of the girls. Like it's not Yuno who's getting all the girls, it's Asta. Whereas Yuno really just has... he just has Belle, who's, you know, a little spirit. She's like the size of a Barbie doll. I don't think he's gonna get anything with that, and I don't think he would be into that. I'm sure there's porn of it somewhere, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Whereas Charmy, I mean, adult Charmy, like you see, I'll put it in the thumbnail, the picture of her, because she actually got 7th. Was it 7th place in the last popularity poll? I think, which is crazy. Like Charmy just like boosted way up the ranks. Yeah, she got 7th place, and I gotta say, adult Charmy's a goddamn piece of candy. But but with Yuno, Charmy's like the only like possible love interest for him, and you'd think that for a character who's supposed to be in a lot of people's eyes like the Black Clover's version of Sasuke, he's only really got one character, that being Charmy. Charmy, who ended up falling in love with him when she saw a combination of him save her food that she was really after, but also, you know, he's a very pretty dude, and, you know, he did something really cool, and she just was smitten, and just seeing him from there on, like, full on, was it Prince of Meals that she calls him? Charmy's just a fun character in general. She didn't need to have all this crazy, like, seriousness to her. People liked her when she was just like a goof, when she was just like, again, this cutesy little chibi character that'd go around like making wisecracks at characters, giving people food, just being happy. And then, you know, all of a sudden she has this like 180 dead-eyed full open stare against, you know, any opponent that messes with her food, that just triggers her right off the bat. Just gave an extra shift to her character. And then she got a plot like enhancing thing, because there was obviously people that called her reveal an ass pull because, you know, they weren't paying attention. Tabata's actually, like, throughout the series been really well at thinking ahead and planning things. So when he runs into this, you can't call it an asshole because he can point back and be like, nope, right here and here and here. You planned the hell out of this. But Charmy's was interesting because she wasn't a vital character to the arc, even in her role. But she ended up introducing, like, straight up, now we're going to have dwarves. There was already a comment from the anti-magic demon that dwarves existed, or at least, like, he sort of called Asta a dwarf. Whether he thinks he's a dwarf or whether he was just, like, comparing with dwarves is irrelevant, because that was at least a sign that dwarves in some form, like whether it would have been a fictional idea or in reality, we already had elves, so it's not far-fetched, were a thing. So it just tacked on to Charmy's making more sense. This is something we already knew at least was in Black Clover somehow. And now we have this extra piece. And if you watch my videos, you know that I've gone over, in a lot of ways, like, the theory in my head of Charmy and the dwarves, because if you look at the grimoires, the Clover Kingdom, originally, like, logically, the grimoires with a clover on them, nature, were from the elves. And then it's like, well, we have the Diamond Kingdom, where the Diamond grimoires come from. Oh, well, they could come from dwarves. Like, imagine, what's a thing about dwarves? They like to mine minerals, gems, gold, jewels, like treasure. What is a diamond? That could tie in so well, and we could still have dwarves existing. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the Diamond Kingdom is so strong, is that they're able, actually, to, they're able to have these powerful characters. Maybe they're not tied in, maybe they're not part of their kingdom, but maybe they're able to pass on, like, how to do special things with weapons. Maybe that's where they got those, like, body-augmenting stones. And there's a lot of questions there. Like, we could get that next arc. We could get the dwarves teaming up with that. Maybe at some point during the Diamond Kingdom's, like, desperate excavation to find more gems, they uncovered the kingdom of dwarves that, are hiding underground, trying to, maybe they, like, heard about the what happened to the elves and, like, we need to get the hell out of here. We need to hide. But it's so interesting because Charmy's character, as a character who started out as, like, a small joke, like, silly one, and then, like, Tabata actually mentions that because I know his wife does, I don't know how the extent that she does for Black Clover. I know she does a lot of inking jobs, like, she does a lot of the inking on characters, but he and Tabata and his wife actually both really like Charmy. I think a lot of people just like Charmy. She hits a lot of those areas. She's cute, funny, adult Charmy, again, like I said, piece of candy. She actually has a lot of badass stuff. She's got cool magic. She's just an all-around likable character, but she also opened up a new aspect into the Black Clover world. Like, we have other ones. Like, also, what other magical beings are out there? Are each of the kingdoms going to have something behind their backstory that relates to a magical being? Like, the Heart Kingdom, their hearts, what does the heart do? Blood and stuff. What if they have vampires or some shit? What if the what if the Spade Kingdom has, like, minotaurs or something? There's so many questions and so many things that came out of this small thing, but it only adds to the mystery of Charmy's character. But also, if we get dwarves, what's gonna happen to her? Is she gonna join in and go, like, be like an ambassador to the dwarves? It's such a, like, what if she ends up like a princess to the Dwarven Kingdom, a lost princess or something? There's so many aspects to Charmy that just relate into the series in such weird ways. And I love that aspect about her. She has that also thing like Finral, where it's just like, you had this character start and it's like, I don't really care. I like the character, but it's not, like, great. And then Finral became a great character. Charmy, though, became a great character, like, way earlier. Like, as soon as that first, like, badass moment, she's just been great. So tell me in the comment section below what you think. Like, I don't know anybody who hasn't liked Charmy. She's just as a likable character. There's nothing about her that is dislikable. Because even if you get, like, that glutton thing, you have this character who loves food, but the thing she loves as much as eating is she loves sharing it. So it's just like, she's such a nice girl on top of being so cute and cool at the same time. But, like I said, comment below. Tell me what you think about her character. Like, I'd be surprised if anybody in this comment section is like, I actually don't like Charmy. Like, there's probably going to be somebody who says it just to be like, haha, I'll be the contrarian. But legitimately, I'd be curious if someone, like, legitimately gave a reason why they don't like her. But other than that, like I said, I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the video before the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.